Now, let's talk about a couple of things here, including David Anderson, boss of the ABC, turns up today at a Senate inquiry. Now, quite rightly, Chris Kenny and Andrew Bolt in particular, chapter and verse went through this. I know Peter and Rita also mentioned it as well. But what about this for just a perfect exercise in sort of saving your backside? I'm trying not to swear, I apologise. It's a lifelong habit I'm trying to break here, right? Covering your backside. When he's asked about all of the details around that Alice Springs report, where the suggestion wasn't very subtle that everyone inside the meeting the reporter didn't go to, by the way, well, it was, of course, full of white supremacy. Have a look at what David Anderson said today.
When you say the damage is done, the horse does bolt with radio when something is said and it goes to air, absolutely. And it should have been picked up before it went to air. I've admitted that, and at the moment I've asked a director of news to investigate and let me know what happened with regard to that. Like, what failed in that it made it into the AM package.
Warren, we are not talking about a missile that accidentally fired off a ship in the middle of the ocean. We're talking about a report that was at least 2 weeks old, and an investigation would have been, mate, come in here, how did that happen? Show me the chain of command. All right, who's going to say sorry? Oh, that's right, no one.
It would have took 5 minutes, quite frankly. I just cannot believe what happened. I remember I was driving to work that morning when I heard it, and I just couldn't believe it. I could see there was a problem straight away, and I was how many kilometres away from Alice Springs when I was in Sydney. It would have took only 5 minutes in my office. We'd have walked in, had a chat, made the apology straight away, dealt with it and fixed it. I just find the way the ABC does things, it takes weeks.
Yeah, but also, Bronwyn, it's all very cute, right? Where the most inconvenient part of this story was that David Anderson has to turn up before a collection of politicians and find a way to answer the question to get through. He turns around by saying, I'll get back to you. It's a classic Senate estimates trick. You know how the way that it works, right? But I thought that Senators Price, also the National Senator, forgive me, his name escaped me, and Sarah Henderson, all did a great job of actually pulling some detail today. But have a look at the reporting of this outside of the Australian or Sky News. Nowhere to be seen.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the ABC is getting worse. And it'll be, as was said by someone today, they'll be rewarded by getting an increase in the amount of money they receive.
100%.
I mean, how is it that the head of the ABC is outmanoeuvred by the Ombudsman, who is able to come out and say, well, this is what happened? Now, the further thing that is wrong with this whole incident is that this particular reporter was sent from Sydney when there were 2 Indigenous reporters in Darwin who would have knowledge of what goes on in the Northern Territory. But obviously there was a preconceived angle that the ABC wanted to present.
But also, at no point was it said that, as best as I can see in her reporting, that she wasn't in the meeting. But again, Nicholas,
Precisely.
I get how this works, right? Which is the ABC, any attack on it is, of course, somehow wanting to, kill off Bluey or somehow shut down regional news services, which is all garbage, right? But it's not that hard, right? If you get something wrong, you turn around and you admit that you got it wrong. Even Media Watch says that they've got it wrong. Instead, David Anderson is honestly trying to pretend here that, we're going to have a Warren Commission to try to work out if there was a magic bullet involved in all of this? It ain't that hard.
Hey, nothing wrong with Warren.
Yeah, I mean, the ABC absolutely got this story wrong, and David Anderson didn't cover himself in glory there today. He didn't seem to know the answer to some pretty fundamental questions that you would have thought he would have been thoroughly briefed on, given how topical this story has been and given that he's the head of the national
So what should happen?
broadcaster.
Nothing will happen to him, but what should happen?
Just to try and, I mean, hang on, let's just, everyone on this panel knows how the media works. If a news reporter is covering a town hall meeting and somebody walks out of the meeting and you go to Vox Pop them and they describe the meeting as a disgusting show of white supremacy, well, that reporter is likely to give that comment a run because, if it bleeds, it leads, and somebody says something sensational like that.
Yes, but if I was in the meeting, I would know that person wasn't telling the truth. The thing is, she wasn't in the meeting.
I agree. That's where the mistakes were made because
That's
the
not a
reporter didn't actually
mistake.
attend the meeting. And as Bronwyn has said, there wasn't actually a reporter who worked in the area as well, someone they'd flown in from Sydney. So I agree, they made a whole range of blunders here, but I can understand how they made the original mistake of
Well, I
putting
don't
that
think it
to
was a
air.
mistake.
But
Nicholas.
look, and again, there's always a great danger with vox pops about pretending they're more scientific than they ever are, right? But it's just, I mean, the accountability. Okay, slight discomfort being asked a couple of questions. Everyone jogs on. David, thanks for doing your bit to pretend there's nothing to see here.